Now, the Economic Community of West African States has given the military rulers in Guinea 6 months to return the country to constitutional order. The Authority of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS, chaired by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, took the decision at the Commission's extraordinary summit, which ended in Accra last night. ECOWAS has further imposed travel bans on the military leaders, as well as their family members and supporters, and frozen the financial assets of members of the military junta. The president of the ECOWAS Commission, Jean-Claude Kissibru, told the media after the summit that the decisions of the ECOWAS authority would be communicated, or officially, I should say, to the military rulers today.
The importance of allowing President Alpha Condé to be free and ensure that his physical integrity be respected. So that was the very first thing. They said it in September 8th, and they repeat it again today. President Condé must be free without any condition and be immediately free, released by the military. The second thing they said was to reaffirm very firmly the condemnation of the coup d'etat, because as I said and explained, we do not accept coup d'etat in ECOWAS, community protocols. In addition to those two things, two decisions, looking now at the political situation and the way forward, the head of state insisted that the transition must be very short. Must be very short. And they even went to the way of clearly stating that the transition should not last more than 6 months. So 6 months, election should be held. They insist that because the election will allow the restoration of the constitutional order in the Republic of Guinea, and that's important, that's critical. And because there was a coup, and to give the clear signal that this is not acceptable, they imposed sanction. They imposed sanction on the member of the National Committee for Development and Restoration in Guinea, the new organ that has taken over. So sanction on those members. The sanction cover travel bans, freeze of asset, financial asset, essentially. They also, of course, reaffirm ECOWAS' firm commitment to work and help Guinea in this process of restoring the constitutional order. They insisted also on the close support of our traditional partner, the United Nations, the African Union, the European Union, and also other bilateral countries. And they also decided that there will be a visit by the chair of the authority to the Republic of Guinea as soon as possible to convey those messages regarding the decision of the summit personally, in person.
Now, the president of the ECOWAS Commission, Jean-Claude Kissibru, has been explaining why the body did not stop the third-term bid of ousted President Alpha Condé.
ECOWAS is a community of sovereign member states. Do not forget that. ECOWAS is a community of sovereign member states. They have the domestic law, they have the domestic legislation. What ECOWAS can do and what ECOWAS did, we had several consultations with various stakeholders, various political parties, well before, during and after. We went there several times. The Commissioner of Political Affairs, Peace and Security is with me several times, and we had several discussions, and even at the high level. But again, community of sovereign members. Okay, sovereign members. So, Our protocol are very clear about that. So some action and decision by member belongs to the member countries. So what ECOWAS, on the basis of our current protocol, can do is to engage them, engage all the stakeholders. It was during COVID time, we had virtual meetings when when the situation, the COVID improved a little bit, we went there several times.
Now, a research fellow at the Africa Research and Engagement Center at the University of Western Australia, Dr. Mohammed Dansuleiman, believes the sanctions imposed are enough to get the military leaders, as well as their family members and supporters, to return Guinea to constitutional rule. He spoke to me earlier.
The sub-regional body has decided to give Guinea a shorter time frame to return the country to constitutional rule, whereas before it gave Mali 18 months. So that is a good improvement. Secondly, it's gone beyond the usual condemnations and the usual expulsions from ECOWAS and add freezing of financial assets of the coup leaders, and also banned, placed a travel ban on them and their families. These are very good. Another development that I find is that the ECOWAS has made it a condition that the coup plotters do not take part in any election that result from the transition process. These measures are really good. I think I can say that there is a very good reason to believe that they would bite to a very significant degree. We should eventually wait to see how the coup leaders would respond to this. These decisions were made not more than 24 hours ago, and we wait to see what Mamadi Doumbouya and his men would do in response to these sanctions. I remember the Shelley Ayokobocho, the Ghanaian foreign minister, saying that the coup plotters actually gave certain conditions themselves. I am not privy to those conditions. It will be interesting to see those conditions that the coup plotters would also give before releasing Alpha Conde, for example. But I say again, the long and short of all this is that we are all waiting to see the response of the coup plotters to these sanctions, fearing that the situation in Guinea would be similar to what is happening in Mali. Was one of the reasons why ECOWAS gave Guinea a shorter time frame. But still, if the coup leaders are going to insist on their promise to rewrite the constitution, then to some extent, 6 months wouldn't be enough in terms of consultations, in terms of doing all the right things to make sure that the constitution that emerges from this transition process actually represents the Guinean people. That said, again, we need to wait to hear what the coup leaders have to say. On both sides, on the ECOWAS side, there's a good reason for them to give the leaders 6 months. But on the other side, on the side of the coup leaders, there is also a good reason to want more time to make sure that the transition period, the transition process is done not in a rush, but in a way that will actually reflect the interests and aspirations of the Guinean people. But there is also the risk that the more you drag the process, the more interests become entrenched, and the more difficult it becomes for those entrenched interests to give way for civilian rule.
Let's talk education now, and the Ministry of Education is assuring parents there's enough food to take care of students in senior high schools across the country. According to the ministry, their monitoring of the situation on the ground as far as supplies of food items to the schools does not suggest shortages. Speaking after a tour of some of the schools in the central region, Deputy Minister of Education John Intim-Fodjo indicated government was committed to developing the human resource of the country through the free SHS program and had released enough resources to ensure that all uncompleted school building projects would be completed on schedule. Richard Kwedunyako joined the tour and has this report.
Reverend John Ntim Fojo and his team visited the WASI candidates and gave them words of assurances. The Deputy Minister then visited the stores of the schools and also to the kitchen where food is prepared for the students. He dismissed rumors that there are food shortages in the senior high schools.
You have seen for yourselves the various kitchens that we visited. And all these are schools that we randomly selected and visited without any prior notice. And you saw for yourselves, they have food. Food has not short. Food is not in crisis. Our students in the various SHS are not starving. So we want parents to be rest assured that we will continue to cater to their wards and that they are in good hands. Any such reports that is speculating going around that our schools are short of food, that there's no food in our schools and our kids are starving, they are all untrue. They are false. As and when some particular food items are going low, the heads of schools place calls to the suppliers and buffer stock, and they receive. If there's any challenge for whatsoever reason that a particular school will be short of food, as soon as it gets our attention, we will take steps and address that. But for now, all the schools we have visited have adequate food.
Reverend John Ntim Fojo also assured all uncompleted classroom and other school building projects are being vigorously tackled by government.
A total of 2,007 infrastructure projects were commenced, and out of this, about 58% were completed and handed over. And the rest that are at various stages of completion, we are monitoring. We are investing huge sums of investment into it to ensure that they are timeously completed for us to open access for the new students that we are expecting even to begin their study next year to have adequate spaces to occupy for effective teaching and learning. So some of your seniors have been to Parliament.
He ended up in the classrooms and decided to show how well he could do as a teacher. He started teaching the students arms of government. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejenyako, Cape Coast.
Let's talk security-related matters now. And armed police officers have been stationed at the two rival residential halls at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology to avert any clashes. The decision is based on security intelligence. The students would use their morale session, a singing and dancing antic, to cause chaos on campus. Mohammed Dansuleiman of our security desk reports students of the Unity and Katanga halls have been rehearsing indoors. Let's now take you to the KNUST campus where my colleague Mohammed Dansuleiman joins us with more. Mohammed, thank you for connecting with us. Now, what is the latest that you can share? We've been speaking on this matter. We've spoken about the banning or forbidding of the morale session. As of now, what is the most recent development?
Students will be allowed to participate in this morale session, but what we do know is that security presence is very high at these two halls, the Unity and University Hall, that is Katanga, and a while ago, monitoring from these two halls, I could hear students singing from their halls of residence, indicating their preparedness to participate in the morale session, which we are told comes off normally in the evening after exams. So the students themselves are geared up, they've been gingered and then preparing themselves for this particular day. But the unfortunate thing is that their efforts could be thwarted by the presence of the police and the security on campus, because the indication from university authorities and then security on campus is that when the students are allowed to come out for these morale sessions, the fear is that they may use the opportunity given them to cause chaos on campus, and it's something that the Regional Security Council, for instance, will want to avert, and that is why the council has brought in more police officers, more armed personnel to provide security on campus. But I must say, it's a normal day for students, for instance. A majority of them who are done with their examination are leaving campus. You could see them packing their luggage, leaving with vehicles coming in and going out, picking students who are done with their examination. And so, yes, it's a normal day for them. And they believe strongly that when they return in January next year, it also gives them another opportunity to stay on campus and provide the necessary information that they require, especially from university authorities. So RESEC is happy that the arrangements that they made is working. In the same way, university authorities are also happy that whatever arrangements that they put in place is working at the moment.
Right, we do know that the security presence is going to be maintained for a while, even after the students are done with this semester. But you just mentioned that they're expected back in January. Do you know when specifically in January they're expected back?
For now, the security personnel wouldn't want to give details of when their presence will be maintained, or maybe when they will leave a campus. The indication is that they want to remain on campus as soon as possible to ensure peace, to ensure law on campus. So it's a bit difficult. They themselves who are here wouldn't want to answer as to when they will leave campus.
Well, thank you very much, Ohiming Teria. I see there's a drizzle there, but you've braved it to bring us the latest. But in terms of the rain, right before you let go of us, what's the weather been like in Kumasi?
It's been a bit cloudy on campus here where I am now, and it's already raining. And with all these rains, we still have people, especially students, packing their luggage and leaving campus. Even when we are still on there, people are beacon on me that they are leaving campus, and then they enjoy, our stay here. I'll stay with them as they leave campus. So on campus of KNUST, it's been raining, but I can't really tell for sure what is happening outside the campus of KNUST. Even then, the security, especially the police officers, are still manning these areas. I've seen a couple of them, moving around to ensure that even though it is raining, that shouldn't prevent them from, providing the necessary security that is required on campus.
It's always refreshing connecting with you, Ohiming Teria. Thank you so much for your time. Now, the Member of Parliament for Daboya Mankarigu, Alhaji Mahama Asei Seni, who doubles as the Deputy Minister for Health, has visited the Busunu portion of the 25-kilometer Daboya-Chachele-Busunu stretch road after portions of the road were actually washed away by floods from Upper West region through to the White Volta. Now, Savannah Regional Correspondent Isaac Nonya joins us live with more. Isaac, do tell, what has the Member of Parliament observed on his visit so far? What exactly has he been saying?
Well, the Member of Parliament did not miss words when he lamented over the kind of jobs that contractors who possibly do not understand the terrain of a particular area and then to execute work, we later turn on to hand them. In the area of where he was talking about, the Daboya-Chachele-Busunu Road, he said the place was a low area which needed to be raised up. And for that matter, the contractor needs to come back to site and really look at the thing and then to bring it up to speed the way the people want. Let's listen to him and hear what he has to say on that.
Before I move, because I also want to move to the Daboya area, and I don't want to move to the Daboya area without a solution. Then he called me to tell me that he has made the contractor and the consultant to move to the site. So I called the contractor. He said, "Oh, despite his machines there." I called my DC, hopefully my DC, and he said, "Oh, the man has reported. He's bought a grailer," and I asked him whether he has seen tipper trucks, because the man told me he's bought 2 tipper trucks and chippings. Then I believe in empirical evidence. He said yes. So this morning, I decided to laugh, come and see things for myself, and be able to witness what is happening, so that it's not going to be a contention any longer. And I keep on telling my people, if you're a leader and people are sending you signals, You don't come and just stand and say you are lamenting. No, you come to sort of solution. And this is the temporary solution. We all agree, as you interview the engineer, this is a temporary solution. We are going to make sure that the people can cross for now. And after this, we'll have to go back to redesign the whole route. Because I have the feeling that if the gradient have been raised from the bridge up to this level and the big gutters, I think this disaster wouldn't have occurred. So it's a lesson for all of us and a proper lesson for the engineers and the contractors.
The point you raised goes to confirm the concern I raised before the engineer. That this seems to be like a study job done earlier.
You see, sometimes there's something I have discovered in this part of the country. Because we have flat land, when they're designing roads, they don't perceive these obstacles. They don't feel like, oh, up here, there are no obstacles and you can do a lot of things. It is when it rains. So I always tell the engineers that if you want to see Northern Road proper and be able to do better bridges, come during the rain season. Because you can see a stream, something that is like the size of a gutter in Accra. And if you come and offend, think that, oh, this is like a gutter shape, rainy season will be revealed.
Now, that is the real situation. But Isaac, you have been speaking as well to the engineer and the MCE. What have they been sharing with you?
Mr. Tamon Seidu said that the fact that what has been washed away doesn't mean that the contractor did a shoddy job, and said days back, after the years back, the 2017 up to date, the greater portion of the road is still intact, unlike the one that has been washed away. And then it's a measure that they will agree with the engineers from the highways to make sure they fix it once and for all.
Beyond that, in the imminent term, or in the immediate term, I should say, we've seen what they are doing. But the engineer, as far as responsibility is concerned, what has he been sharing?
Yes, specifically, things that he wanted to put in place was what they were doing. But he said going forward, they need to agree on the way forward. Judging from what they start, the engineers on the highway gave them the quotation and what they should do as to the type of culvert they should put there. But this time, they're also going to give out their own proposals for the highways to consider, and they're able to do a better job this time around. Let's listen to what he has to say regarding the way forward on the bridge.
We are putting together a report, and within the report, we are putting in our proposal to the Ghana Highway Authority. We are suggesting a series of box culverts which will contain much bigger volumes of water within this stretch, a number of them, so that they could also consider it if they deem it fit. When the water subsides, then we can put in the culverts later. But now, what we are much interested in is to fill the place, to make it more trouble for the residents to have access on the road. So, knowing the place and then per your survey, could it be that you didn't foresee what we are witnessing today? Understand that the road more like is low and need to be raised up more than where the level it is now. Well, this place, it is only this year. For about 5 years ago, when the road was filled up to this level. I know, but it's located within the valley area. Yes. Unlike the other aspect of it. Yes. Per the GHA design, they put in a series of pipe culverts in between the bridge and the village in here. So always when the flood comes, it's always at the embankment. It has never crossed. But this situation tells us that the initial covers that GHA proposed was not enough. So that's why we are saying we are also putting our proposal across
So let's talk housing. Now, the second mini clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is on this weekend at the West Hills Mall. This year's fair is on the theme home ownership, to build or to buy. Dozens of exhibitors were at the Achimota Retail Center last weekend to showcase their product and services to would-be patrons. Now, in case you missed out on that and are wondering how this weekend's would be like, here is an excerpt from that fair.
When you are coming through this habitat, you already have 10% discount voucher and come to our office so that we can further business in regards to payment and production for our customers. And aside that, we have other profiles which we are also making a lot of noise on the media, which has to do with our ready-mix concrete and our blocks. The blocks, we have the engineering blocks, we have the hollow blocks, and we have the concrete blocks. Per the measurement, we have the 5 inches and we have the 6 inches as well.
All right. So, in terms of the Habitat Fair, what kind of opportunities has this afforded you to be able to reach out to potential customers?
I think looking at the Habitat Fair, we have made a lot of contacts. What we are hoping for is all these contacts that we have made will generate into a very good sales for DBS.
EcoBank also introduced patrons to its pension-backed mortgage.
There's a budget, or there's a home for every budget. So we have our EcoBank home ownership mortgage, where we finance you to get your own home. We have what we call a pension-backed mortgage, where if you have your tier 2 and tier 3 with a value of 20% or more of the property you intend purchasing, we can also use that as security and finance your mortgage 100%.
If you missed out on the action, don't miss out on this one. All the action is going to be at the West Hills Mall tomorrow, Saturday, and on Sunday. Don't miss out. Let's take a break now for business. Welcome to the business segment. Now, human resource professionals have been advised to reposition themselves in order to adapt to the changing times of the world. According to economist Alhassan Andani, it's about time HR professionals ripped the old manuals and created new ones to suit the agile form of work. Speaking to Joy Business after the launch of the third cohort of the Irene Asari HR mentoring program, he applauded the team for actualizing the dream of mentorship.
Rip the old manuals and write your book. That's the advice from economist and former chief executive of Stanbic Bank, Alhassan Andani, to human resource managers. According to him, since COVID-19 pandemic has altered work habits across the globe, it's time for HR practitioners to create new paths to remain relevant.
We can no longer operate on those old HR manuals. We've got to rip them off and then rethink and write the new manuals for the new world of work, because the new world of work is a totally different game. Organizations are going to be radically different. They're going to be very agile, changing. Their purpose might be the same, but the way they get it done will change very rapidly. So it's no longer the stable, predictable environment these old HR practices were, written for. So we now need to look at HR management practices that looks to the nature of organizations, and by nature of the organizations, the kind of skill sets that are required to make those organizations profitable or sustainable.
Meanwhile, founder of Kevin Clay People Development, Irene Asari, says the Irene Asari HR mentoring program seeks to help HR professionals learn best ways to ensure productivity in their various places. She indicated that this third cohort is of great importance, especially during the pandemic, where hybrid work has come to stay.
Hybrid working is our reality. We thought initially it would be the new normal and it would go away, but it's here to stay. And I think what that means for us as HR professionals is we have to learn to adapt but we need to learn to think differently. What COVID has taught us is that the world as we saw it and as we know it has completely changed. And therefore, what does that mean for us as practitioners? If, for example, we have individuals that are working from home, individuals that are coming into the office, we're giving people more choice, how do we still continue to nurture the culture? How do we still continue to drive productivity? What kind of policies, processes, systems, ways of working do we now need to design that was different to what we were doing before? So this is the moment that us as HR professionals really need to step up to the table.
One of the mentees, Patrick Siame, who is the human capital business partner with Stanbic Bank, expressed his delight to be part of the program to learn from household names in the sector.
This is very much important for the human capital community, and very much excited that we have people in this country like Irene Asari, who is very seasoned or experienced HR person, to put this program together to develop, you know, the people who drive this change that would change our economy, that would actually take our businesses to the next level. And the more exciting aspect is to have seasoned HC or human capital practitioners in this country who have volunteered their time, you know, to kind of groom the next level of human resource or human capital individual who drive this change and change the economy of this country.
From business, we take you to sports after the break.
Good afternoon, welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News today. Now, in recent times, Mexico has been influential in the world of entertainment, noting for riveting soap operas. But the Mexican embassy in Ghana wants you to experience more than what you see on TV. At the Holiday Inn Hotel last night, the embassy supported a project to showcase Mexican food and music. Judith Awochib Tando has more in this report.
Si tú tuvieras dicho siempre la verdad, si hubieras respondido cuando te llamé.
It was a lot of fun at the Mexican festival. One of the highlights of the event was karaoke.
Si no supiste amar, I could move a mountain when your hand is in my hand. Oh, ask me not express how much you mean to me.
But the host, Kwesi Che Dakwa, would not be left out.
To make you see, if it takes my heart and soul, you know I'll pay the price.
Mexican ambassador to Ghana, Enrique Escoza, who graced the event, explained the Mexican embassy said there was a lot Mexico and Ghana have in common.
Well, basically the idea is to put people closer together. I mean, the whole goal is not only that more Ghanaians know more about Mexico, but also that Mexicans know a little bit more about Ghana. So I think that a mission of any ambassador, in my case is no exception, is to bring people closer. And in the occasion of our independence, we want just to show the Ghanaian people how do we celebrate, how we are, how do we have the love for our country, because we see that the Ghanaian people love the country so much in so similar ways like we do. So we like to enjoy and show that part of us to our so amazing friends here in this country.
Many who were at the event commended the embassy for the initiative, saying it was a laudable idea.
Don't forget, we live in a very diversified world. Everywhere we go, we are all mixed. So yes, I encourage it. I think it's really good. It's a good initiative. It would even go far as to when we get to a point in time that we introduce Spanish in all classes in schools, you know, just to incorporate different languages, different cultures.